You are still standing over there in the contrast, beating the drum of what's gone wrong. If you're still justifying to those other humans who surround you how much you need or want this new idea because how awful it feels over there in the absence of it, then you're not going with that flow, are you? In fact, you are not allowing, you are resisting that very flow. And that resistance feels awful. In fact, it feels so awful that you say, we know you do, we hear you. You say, I wish I didn't even want that. I wish it had never even occurred to me that I want that, because I am so miserable now that I want it and don't have it. And we say, well, under those conditions, get used to your misery because it can't come. And you can never stop wanting it either. Sort of a consequence of taking that leap into physical form. So the emotions that you feel are very important to you, and people are beginning to understand this from a creation level. You have always known about emotions. In fact, of all of the things that we hear humans discuss, that's at the top of the list. I feel this way, or I feel this way, or I felt this way, or I felt this way. You have always been keenly aware of the way you feel, but we think you have not been quite so aware of what is the reason for the way you feel. Oh, you say, well, I know the reason that I feel bad is because something bad has happened. And we say, well, we would like to clarify that. The reason you feel bad is because you are giving your attention to the absence of something you want. So we know it's easier to look at what is right in front of you. It's easier to just turn on the television and watch what is given to you. It takes more effort to selectively sift. But when you care about how you feel, and when you remember that your emotions are telling you about these points of vibrational relationship, these points of vibrational relativity between where you are in this moment and who you really are and who you really have become, then you care more keenly about how you feel, because you want as much as you can to be vibrationally up to speed with the whole of that which you are. Your guidance and that which is your source is never criticizing you or feeling criticism about where you are, because the only thing that matters is the relationship between where you are and where you want to be. And source is so where you want to be and calling you toward it, that if you'll give yourself a break, if you'll get off your own back, if you'll lighten up a little bit, if you'll relax where you are and listen for the call, and not expect it to sound like harps, but expect it to sound like relief. Expect it to sound like something that feels just a little better than where I am. Then you'll begin to hear the call of source, and you'll begin to close that vibrational gap, and you'll begin to stop resisting and start practicing the art of allowing. And you'll begin to, more often than not, offer one signal, and you will begin to offer this powerful signal. And one who is connected to the stream is more powerful than millions who are not. In other words, when you stop scattering your own energy, you're going to be knocked over by the universal influences, by the sequence of conditions and circumstances and others that reveal themselves to you in a constant, steady stream of helping you along the way. Someone gave Jerry and Esther a plaque to put in their car that reflects, you can't read it when you look at it, but when you lay it on the dashboard, it reflects properly on the windshield, on the inside of the windshield. And it says, everything always works out for me. And we want you to realize that everything is working out for you. Even the things that seem like it's a wrong turn are things that are working out for you. And if you could accept that and get into that giving yourself a break, everything works out for me attitude, you will find the next and the next and the next and the next. And before you know it, you're going to begin doing what you intended to do when you made the decision to come forth into this body. You're going to start enjoying the journey, enjoying the journey, enjoying the journey. Those of you who are not enjoying the journey, who are banking on getting happy once the outcome comes, you have long, unpleasant journeys, don't you? When you begin to enjoy the journey, no matter where you are upon it, when you're having fun, no matter where you are upon it, no matter where you are in relationship to where you want to be, then you are living life in the way that you've intended. Because one thing is certain, you will never ever get it done. You are an eternal being, and you will not stop having experience, and you will not stop concluding new intentions. You will not stop expanding. And so if you're holding out to feel good until some piece of expansion has been completed, then you're going to have a long wait coming. When you get ready to go on a vacation, you never say, I think I will go on a vacation. I will go here and here and here and here and here and here and here. And then I will come back home. And then you look at it objectively and you say, wait, all of those places and then home? Wait, I'm already home. Why go? And so you just check vacation off your list. One more thing I don't have to do. And we say, you don't go on the vacation to get it done. You go on the vacation for the joy along the way, for the people you will meet, for the inspiration that will come, for the new ideas that will be born, for the new feelings of exhilaration, for the new feelings of feeling frisky. In other words, you go on the vacation for the fun of the vacation, not to get it done. And you did not come into this body to get something done. You came for the fun of the journey. And so the two things that we want you to leave here knowing, remembering, reactivated within you is that we want you to make peace with wherever you are upon this emotional scale, because wherever you are is just fine and can be immediately improved when you know it. And the other thing we want you to realize is that you will never, ever, ever, ever get it done. You cannot get it wrong, and you never get it done. It will constantly expand. We are eager to talk with you about anything that is important to you.
I want to ask a question about manifesting. So I'm reading your literature and your books and tapes and what have you, and I'm totally moved. I'm saying, okay, of all the teachers I've had, everything's just starting to come in together. You're a catalyst. You just bring it all together. So I think, all right, I'm going to become a like a lean.
You know what's
mean.
actually happening? You're coming into alignment with who you are, which is making all of the pieces that led up to this fit together. Mm-hmm. In other words, as you apply the process that causes you to come into alignment with who you are, everything that you have lived now makes sense. Once you get this, everything that's happening to you makes sense, and everything that's happening to everybody else makes sense. In other words, the mysteries of the world all go away as you understand law of attraction and the power of creation.
Well, the law of attraction I'm dealing with it now as though, first of all, I'm doing everything right. I think I'm meditating and I'm feeling good. I'm bringing joy, and I'm saying, this is really truth. This is special. I'm going to see if it works. I'm going to become a lean, mean, manifesting machine, okay? So it starts working. I have nothing, and the phone starts ringing. I'm manifesting. I want to manifest abundance. So the phone starts ringing, and money starts showing up in my life, and all of a sudden I lose a $5,000 diamond ring. So I'm saying, whoa, what's going on here? And so I almost simultaneously at the same era, the same time about a year ago, when I'm really doing some serious meditating and even maybe a little mantra, like the Wayne Dyer recommends for meditating. And so I'm in my home. It's about a 50-year vintage home, and I'm saying, I've got to remodel this home, but I don't have the money to do it. So I'm wandering around. I go from bathroom to downstairs. I'm saying, this has got to be remodeled, but I can't afford it, so I'm going to have to do it myself. So I say, how can I do that? It's going to take a century. And lo and behold, right out of just nowhere, a little pipe breaks in my bathroom, inundates with water the upstairs and floods it, goes through the floor and into the first story downstairs, takes care of the ceiling, exactly the one I was meditating over that I have to reconstruct. All the wallpaper I was supposed to take off and didn't know how to do it. And the insurance company brought in a stripper to do all of it. Took care of all the walls I was meditating on both bathrooms, including the ceiling downstairs, new floor, and the whole thing. And I'm saying, it's bittersweet. Why am I manifesting bittersweet instead of all sweet?
Why is it bitter? Why was any of it bitter?
Well, because I'm spending money through the insurance company, and also I'm there living in the garage almost while they're repairing all this, and they find there's some kind of something in the walls that they have to eradicate and whatever. It was about a 2-week ordeal. And then I'm a musician, somewhat like Jerry used to be, I guess. And I have this impacted toenail, and this is all the same time, all happening. Having an impacted toenail is driving me crazy, and it has for years. And so I'm saying, this is painful. I got to do something about it. I'm going to go around and see if I can find a file, electric file, do something so it won't hurt me when I'm entertaining. And lo and behold, one night I'm packing my truck, and a microphone stand comes off of the dolly, a direct hit on my toenail. So, and it hurt like hell, I'll tell you. And after A lot of bleeding and a lot of pain. So the next day I call a doctor. He sees it and he extracts a toenail. Now it's as good as new. And how about this one? He said, by the way, when he found out I was a wedding DJ, he says, we're looking for a DJ to our Christmas party. And in a couple of weeks, I got a Christmas party out of it, a new toenail. And I'm thinking, does there have to be a downer before you have a good... In other words, why can't I just have a sweet experience of happiness instead of, this negative thing happening? Why should there be pain before I have ecstasy? I don't get it. Don't get it.
We've been saying that if your car is going 5 miles an hour and you hit a tree, it's not as much problem as if your car is going 100 miles an hour and hit a tree. So sometimes in the beginning of deliberately applying thought, you can get out of balance in the sense that you goose up your desire disproportionate to your ability to allow. So what really happened here is that you increased your desire as you were focusing on what you wanted. You were meditating on these things that you wanted. You summoned more energy than your vibrational stance could allow easily. Now, the very good news is that your desire was strong enough, your focus was strong enough that you pulled it off. But you pulled it off in discomfort. And the answer to your question is you do not have to experience the pain in that, but the pain is an indication that you were pushing through some resistance, you see. Often this happens when people are impatient about wanting to make things happen. And we say that the rule of thumb is be as specific as you can be in your visualizing and still feel good. In other words, when you try to make something happen before you're really ready to make it happen, but you really want it to happen, what we meant earlier when we said someone who really, really wants a relationship and they want it now. They're just sick and tired of being without someone and they really, really want it. So they meditate on having a relationship and having it now. And their desire to have the relationship is so strong, the universe will bring them one, but it will be a painful relationship because they didn't clean up their vibration before they demanded that it come. And so what we're really wanting to say to you is that during your meditations, if you can just apply one statement and mean it as you say it, all things in perfect time. In other words, universe, I know that you have broader view, and I know that you know everything that I want. I know that you know what's waiting for me in vibrational escrow. I know you know what my vibrational state of allowing is. I'm working to bring myself into vibrational alignment with what I'm wanting. So yield to me as much as is possible in a comfortable way. And that's the way it will come to you. Really, it is.
Well, could this be from trying too hard? Because when I first started meditating...
Those are the perfect words. Those are the best words that you could have spoken about it. Trying too hard. Not trusting that the universe is going to lay it out in a way and get it done. So we call it micromanaging, getting overly involved, trying to do too much with action. For heaven's sakes, you were going to do the remodeling yourself. You were so determined to do it, you see.
One other item before I split. This is really interesting and quite funny, as a matter of fact. I'm reading your book about manifesting a little red car. It's always a red car for some reason. So I want to manifest a van. I really want this van big time, but I didn't want a red. And so I've been meditating for the last 6 months, and here it comes. Here's the van. It's about a $36,000 Quest van, and it's here. The money comes and bam, it's there. But it's red. And guess what? I love it. I like it better than I would what I wanted to start with. And it's funny, I was wondering if that had anything to do with my subconscious reading these books.
Yes. Here's the thing. You get what you think about whether you want it or not. So when you think about the van that you want, but you say, I don't want it to be red, what the universe hears is red van.
Okay.
So what you want to do is you want to talk about what you do want. You see, in this universe that is all about vibration and all about energy, it's attraction based, which means there's no exclusion. When you see this thing you want and you give your attention to it, you include it in your vibration. When you see this thing you don't want and you shout no at it, you include it in your vibration. So shouting no is just a way of saying yes to things you don't want.
Well, you've certainly answered my questions, and I feel much better. And this is my rampage of appreciation just sitting in this chair. Thank you.